Good day, everyone. My name is Belinda May F. Asuncion. For today, we are going to discuss inclusion program. So first, let us know the term inclusion. The term inclusion captures in one word an all-embracing societal ideology regarding individuals with disabilities and special education. So inclusion program embraces diversity. Inclusion program is for all the students, disabled or not. They are given opportunity to be part of education. This inclusion program is an educational approach in which it respects one's differences. This is open for all as this will provide greater opportunities for all the students in academic and even in social achievement. So what is inclusive education? Inclusive education is for all. There is fairness. In this program, normal learners or disabled learners, they are all learning in the same roof. They are learning in one environment and to develop the learning of the students. They are all given the chance to learn regardless of one's culture, races, differences. All the students are given the chance to learn and all the learners are learning in the same room. Inclusive education as defined by NCF 2005. Disability is a social responsibility. We all know there are disabled persons, and as part of this program, disability is a social responsibility. It is the responsibility to educate those disabled persons. Failure of a child is an indication of failure of school. As we all know, school is a great foundation of learnings. This is something to do or it is a vital role towards the learning of the learners. Remove social, physical, and attitudinal barriers. There is no barriers at all. Learning together is beneficial for every child. It is right because as we all know it benefits the learning of the learners as they are all learning together. Inculcate mutual respect and interdependence. There is always respect in the context. Aims and objectives of inclusive education. Education is for all, is what we always said from the term itself, inclusive education. It is education for all. It is for everyone, disabled or not. They are all being educated. Protection of rights. Protecting those learning in the context. Protecting all those learners, disabled or not. They are protected with right. Identification of skills. This is attainable because in the process teaching and learning, we could be able or they could be able to recognize or identify the skills of the learners. Development of social consciousness, and then to prepare the learners for new challenges. It is their aim to prepare those learners as they are in the process of learning. So it is expected that they could be able to encounter different challenges. And then through this program, they are given a chance for a great preparation or to prepare those learners. Development of brotherhood. There is development of brotherhood because they met a lot of people or they met a lot of learners in the context. To improve quality of education. It is the aim of this program to prepare the quality of education, and through that there is assurance of growth and then progress of students learning. Inclusion core principle of K-12 promotes institutional sensitivity and responsive nature, situation, realities of the learners. It promotes institutional sensitivity. It is also responsive towards the realities of the learners. As we all know, in one room, in one context, there is diverse learners. Inclusive education policy perspective of K-12. Realize through learner-centered and context-responsive programs. It is learner-centered. As we all know, if it is learner-centered, students are being focused in the context. This program is responsive towards the learners. Guiding principle of inclusive education. Responsiveness to rights. It is not just only expensive towards the learning of the students, it is also responsive towards the rights of all those learners, disabled or not. They have always the right. It is the guiding principle of this inclusive education that their right is responsive. Sensitivity and responsiveness to context. Responsive towards the context. Inclusion recognizes and respects learners' right to relevant and responsive to their context. It is the guiding principle of this inclusive education in which recognizes the rights of this. It is responsive. It recognizes the rights of those learners, and then there is respect in the context also. Principles of inclusive education. No discrimination with students. There is fairness, so there is no discrimination in the context. No one is being bullied because they are always protected with the rights. Equal educational opportunity to all. Yes, it is equal because everyone given the opportunity as part of this program. In education, this is an equal opportunity for all of those learners. School adapt to the need of students. As a great foundation, school adapted all the need of those students. Equal educational benefits for all students. Everyone is given the chance in education as well as the benefits of all the students. The student views are listened to and taken seriously. So in the context, students are being listened, so all the concerns it is taken seriously. All the views and perspectives of the students it is being listened in the context. Individual differences between students are a source of richness and diversity, and not a problem. So it is not a problem at all. Instead, it is a source of richness and diversity. This program is a source those individual differences in the context. It is not a problem at all. Instead, it's a richness, advancement, and diversity. Need and importance of inclusive diversity to fulfill the constitutional responsibilities. So each part in the community or within a society fulfilling the constitutional responsibilities is part of the need and importance of inclusive education. To enable children to stay with their families. It is happy to know that students are just staying or those children are staying with their families for the development of healthy citizenship. If there is a healthy environment, I guess we could be able to develop a healthy citizenship. For achieving the universalization, there is a learners are being united to. We could be able to achieve that one in the context. Developing feeling of self-respect. As what they always said, there is development of self-respect in the context because they are all equal in one classroom in or in a learning environment. For social equality, it points out to one's differences regardless in one culture, everyone has an equal opportunity and self-reliant. Who are those students belong in this inclusive education? Or the common students, the children in remote tribal, and all other children, street children, children of migrant liberals, children with HIV or AIDS, and other chronic illness, girls living in difficult circumstances, children with disabilities, and working children. They are all children belong to this inclusive education. Scope of inclusive education. So inclusive education has the potential to meet all the diverse educational needs of all children through this program, the inclusive education. Process of inclusive education. Awareness raising on the right to education for all children at local, regional, and national levels. So there is an awareness of raising in terms of the rights of education of all those learners in the context. Parents supports to understand their children's educational, social, and sometimes medical needs. We all know parents are the first supporters of their children in the educational context or in different aspects of the needs of the children parent support. Policies: developing inclusive education policies, revising existing policies. So there is policies in the context, there is policies in develop or to be followed in the context. Teacher training programs to promote inclusive practices. We all know teacher has the vital role in the process. In order to have this effective teaching, it is important to have these teachers training in order them to practice some teaching strategies or some initiatives in order to be prepared in the process of teaching. Specialized techniques for teaching children with a range of learning and communication styles and needs. We all know in the classroom in one context there is diverse students. So it is very important to have these specialized techniques in order to meet the needs and also to the enter in order to interest of those learners in communication styles. Role of teacher. Interaction with family. There is always interaction with the family to communicate with the parents and then to report some performance of students in the class. To be able to solve their problem. There's the role of the teacher to understand or to listen the concern or problems of the students in order to easily solve the problem. To develop new learning strategies. We all know it is the role of the teacher that have some strategies or styles in order to develop learning strategies towards the learners. To be able to develop self-confidence, not just only for themselves as a teacher but towards the students to develop the self-confidence of the students. To be able to provide special facilities. It is also the role of the teacher to provide special facilities for all the learners to meet the needs and interests of the learners in the context. To be able to look after their personal needs. Students have different needs in the process of learning, so it is the role of the teacher to look for that. To be able to recognize their hidden talents. Students have different talents. They are gifted, they are blessed with many talents, and then it is the role of the teacher to recognize of those hidden talents of that students, especially if that students are not active in the class. To inculcate positive attitude in the able-bodied children. Inculcating some positive attitude towards the students to recognize those positive attitude of the students. That's all for today. I hope you learned a lot about my presentation and thanks for giving your time to listen in my discussion.